Well, good afternoon and blessed Good Friday to anyone joining us or who will view this later. My name is Steve Givens. I'm the Executive Director of the Bridges Foundation here in St. Louis. We are an organization that provides the spiritual exercises of St. Ignatius Loyola in everyday life. And we'll be talking about that today with our uh, one of the long time, I was going to say old, and that's just not right, Pam. So, one of the long time members of our community, been around longer than I have for sure. So, this is Pam Mason we're talking to today. Pam is one of our prayer companions, has for a long time been a site coordinator, running one of our sites at St. Matthew the Apostle um, Parish in the Ville neighborhood in our city. Let me tell you just a bit about Pam, and then she's going to tell you more. But Pam is a lifelong Catholic. She attended St. Matthew School growing up. That school's teaching was rich in the Jesuit tradition and also in the Sisters of St. Joseph taught there. So she grew up in the neighborhood, went to parish there, graduated from the really well known in St. Louis Sumner High School, went on to earn a BS degree in computer science, and she retired just a few years ago. She doesn't look old enough to retire uh, from the U.S. Department of Agriculture after 33 years of service. So she serves St. Matthew the Apostle Church on their spiritual life and worship committee, on the administration and finance committee, and also helps lead the young adult and youth ministries. So, uh, Pam, good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Good to
and
see you.
thank you, and thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. Well, let's begin as we always do. Just tell us a little bit more about your background, where and how you were raised, and how you first came to experience the spiritual exercises.
Okay. Um, well, if I start with my parents, my father was from Mississippi, and my mother parents was from Arkansas, and they were married here in St. Louis, Missouri. I have five siblings, three older sisters and two younger brothers. Like you said, I went to St. Matthew's School, but I was baptized at Visitation St. Anne's. Um, my grandmother was Catholic, so she raised my mother as a Catholic, and my mother went to St. Nicholas School um, in Parish, which is still, still now local. How I learned about the spiritual exercise. I can really relate to Ignatius' story because it was over a summer that I was really searching for a deeper understanding, and I didn't really know what I wanted, but I was just seeking, kind of like, and I was reading books and picking up books really deep into the Bible. And one day at church, Father Mark McKenzie was doing his homily, and he mentioned the spiritual exercise, and it was like a light bulb went on in me. I still didn't quite know what it was about, but I just know that was something that I wanted to do. So I contacted him and said that I'm very interested. Um, I did experience the exercise at the Lawanga Center. At that time, Rita Holly was the site coordinator there. And that was probably around 2000 or 2001. It's been so many years, and I'm still involved because it was just such a wonderful experience that I'm just, I just feel that it changed my whole direction and way of life going through the spiritual exercise.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit more. Um, I guess how and why would you say that it that experience changed your life and the work that you do?
Well, see, one of the things, it deepened my relationship. It really it helped me to understand how important my relationship is with Jesus,
Mm.
and it deepened the relationship. taking time every day, just sitting there quietly, reading and being with God, really enriched it. And you think that Jesus loved you, but then all of a sudden I was like, wow, how much he loves me. And one of the things I never forget, I at the end of the exercise, and they was having an information session like we always do, and I was asked to come back and talk to other people that might be interested in it. And as I sat down and started explaining my experience, I heard myself say things that I hadn't really recognized that I had discovered. And one of the things was I could see God handprint on all the different circumstances where he was fixing stuff for me, you
Mm.
know? And it was something, and I heard myself say that, and it was like, wow, I hadn't even really discovered that I had discovered that. It was just that it was just such a wonderful experience that at the end I didn't even want it to stop. I was like, oh, I don't get a chance to talk to my prayer companion anymore. It just became such a habit. All of it became such a wonderful habit of spending that quiet time. To me, it was the best habit to have, spending that quiet time reading scripture and reflecting. And then, the other thing is it gave me an understanding of what my responsibility is. My responsibility is to grow and help others and do something. It's not you experience and you keep it inward. It's supposed to go outwards. So
Yeah.
that's kind of like,
Yeah, you said to me when we were talking a week or so ago that you just wanted to make sure as many people as possible could experience their spiritual exercises.
that's where um understanding that it's supposed to go outward. you
Hmm.
know I just think that if you're open, it's such a wonderful experience, and nobody's the same when they're going through it. And when I say open, really, you have to be open to experience it. You have um, really committed to spending the time with God, because um, it's one of the most important relationships that we'll ever have, to me.
Hmm.
And it's like any relationship that we have now, we work on it. We see the people, we talk to the people, we show the people that we love them, and we do all these different things. And the most important and first relationship is that with God. So,
Yeah, and you were telling me that we have a responsibility for that, right? It's
yes,
not just something we sit back and receive, but we have
right.
to become active in that.
You see, when I think about that, I think God loves us because he just loves us. And it really goes back to what is my love response back,
Mm.
is to love him and do his work, continue his mission, whatever he's calling me to do, I go do it. And that's really, in I spend my time with, I always try to make sure that I'm doing the good that God wants me to do. What is he calling me to do?
Mm.
Okay. And that's what I go do. But I think it's our responsibility to, it's like the first principle of the spiritual exercise. And whenever I read that, I just get a deeper understanding, is that everything I have in this world came from God by his grace and by his love. So what is my love response back to him? I, you know, and that is to do any and everything that I can to continue that mission. And I think the spiritual exercise is what really awakened me to that.
Yeah, yeah. Um, let's take a step back a bit. So we find ourselves talking today on Good Friday, one of the the holiest days of our church year. What do you remember from your childhood, from your teenage years of um, your experiences of Christ's passion and death at St. Matthew. What was it like there on Good Friday and Holy Saturday, and within your family?
My I have one fond memories at St. Matthew's. I love the church so much, and I love the stained glass windows. And even as a little kid, I always would go in and just look at all the windows and so forth. But my experience really has to do with Good Friday, going into church, and everything is so quiet and so bare, because the all the altars are not dressed and all that. And then Holy Saturday to me was really a special in going to the church in the darkness
Mm.
with the little candle, and the readings, and then all of a sudden the lights come on. Um, as a family, we always attend the masses in the evening, and then on Easter Sunday, going to mass, and just always a joyful day on Easter Sunday to go to mass. And the we gather as a family and eat Easter dinner. So it's always kind of like just a celebration of going to mass together and really remembering what this is truly all about. It's Christ's passion, and that Easter Sunday is a celebration of Christ risen.
Mm.
So my also they would have Stations of the Cross, which is one of my favorite things to do, and we continue to do that now at St. Matthew's every Sunday morning before Mass, and a Eucharistic adoration. Also, I remember that at St. Matthew's, going into church when it's real quiet and still. I really like the Station of the Cross because it depicts Christ, what he went through. It's just a beautiful way to really sit back and reflect on what he did for me. Okay, that um, and I really take all of that personal, that he did that for me, which is one of the things. So, what is my love response back to him for what he has done for me? And that whenever I think about the passion, I can even think about going to see the movie The Passion and how it really um, made me sad to see Christ go through all of that for me, and really doing a reflection on, no matter how bad they show it on the screen, it was worse because they was trying to humiliate them, so that brings a sadness to me, um, that because of my sins, and that with the grace that him and the Father loves me so much that he's
Mm.
willing to lay down his life for me. um, it makes me feel, it really makes me excited about doing whatever I can do to further his.
Yeah. Our retreatants, um, and you know this obviously, but our retreatants are at that part of the retreat right now. They're in what's called the third week, which is
Mhm,
the passion and the death of Christ. It usually uh, that that week takes about 4 or 5 weeks to go through the way that we do the retreat, but um, they're right at that stage right now, and we usually try to time it so it's in timing with the church's
mhm, mhm,
calendar, and so it's happening, this week. And we talk a lot about to our retreatants of this is a way of experience the passion of the Christ in ways that maybe you never have before. Because
mhm,
if we go to church on Good Friday, like we all have always done, you just get that set of readings for the day and then it's done.
mhm,
When you do the spiritual exercises, we slow all that down. We
mhm,
slow those last 3 or 4 days down and spend weeks with it. What do you remember during your own experience of the spiritual exercises in the third week?
I think what I remember is that, like you said, going through the readings and the same period of time, it deepened my understanding of the passion. It also makes you aware of the pain and suffering that Christ went through
Mm-hmm.
for me. That's the reason why everything became so personal, that I had to take ownership of his passion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I looked upon it as that God so loved the world that we were broken between Adam and Eve, became broken and no way home, and that Christ came and laid down his life as the bridge for us to get back home. And so those readings at that time to me really changed my look on the passion, to be going through the passion. And like you said, doing the actual readings, the Last Supper, and, thinking about the apostles and thinking about Judas, all those readings really deepened the season for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I yeah, they just deepened the season for me, a way of opening up the Lent. It kind of opens it up for you, because you start and you're actually reading and walking with Jesus and being a companion with Jesus as you move through the readings and as you move through Lent, and especially the final days of his life, which is the Last Supper and Good Friday, and him up on the cross, which is one of the things that I find, the pain and suffering that he took up on the cross, the nailing of the nails through his hands and so forth. Um, yeah, going through it with the third week during Lent is a special, meaningful.
Yeah, yeah. We've had a few viewers. If anybody out there has a question for Pam or for me about the retreat or anything else, please feel free to drop that question right there in the comment section on Facebook, and we'll see it. Pam, what would you say? I think we talk about this a lot within the Bridges community, that we seem to get the people who come participate in the retreat just at the right time at their life. They somehow find their way to us at just the right time. And, it's, and most of the people that come to us have heard about the spiritual exercises, maybe have some notion of what it's about. Maybe they've been on a shorter retreat at the White House retreat or something like that. What would you say to someone out there who's like, yeah, I've heard of this, but I don't quite understand what it's all about or why I should do it? What would you say to them?
Um, well, I kind of scout out people in my church all the time
Hmm.
to see if they're interested. And sometimes I get the question that, what is this really about? And I say it's about deepening your relationship with God.
Hmm.
It helps you to set the right priorities, that God is first, and get that relationship right. The rest of the relationships are going to fall into place, but you have to get the first relationship.
Hmm.
Sometimes I hear that people say, well, I don't have time. And I'm like, oh. And I pray for them, like, you don't really saying that you don't have time for God, because see, that's the thing I think people miss a lot of times, is that you need to slow down and make time for God. And that's one of the things I talk to them about. It's like, you need to have those conversations with God. And slowing down for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, just slow down and spend that time with God. I always explain to them how, I kind of explain the whole process to them, but I also let them know that God is the one inviting you to participate in this,
Mm-hmm.
and that saying yes to God is with, and you have been, and how much you will benefit in saying yes to God. So I kind of, depending on the person, I kind of approach it one way or the other, but I always try to explain to them that this is really geared towards you slowing down and spending that quiet time with God daily, like your other relationships that you work on daily. Where's God in your priority?
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. In case you're watching this now or watching it later and you're wondering what this is all about, the Bridges Retreat begins every year in early September and goes through early May with either weekly or monthly meetings. We have a couple different models. Pam will be running our site at St. Matthew the Apostle Parish in the Ville, we hope. She's also going to be with me in early August. We're going to do a information session at College Church. But we have sites at St. Louis University High School, at St. Matthew, at Sacred Heart Parish in Valley Park, at Webster Groves Christian Church in Webster Groves, and we have an online group. So we have lots of different places and ways for you to do this. If you're interested, or if you know someone who you think this would be a great opportunity for them, please direct them to our website. That's bridgesfoundation.org. We are about out of time here. Unless somebody else has any questions, I'll kind of wrap things up while we wait and see. Our next Bridges conversation will be about a month from now on Friday, May 5th at noon. I'll be talking with Virginia Herbers. She is a spiritual director and author, a speaker, and she's the director of mission formation at St. Louis University. And she's a really interesting person. Looking forward to spending some time with her as I have today with Pam. So, Pam, I'm not seeing any questions, and I think we're right about time. Anything you want to say in closing? Or?
No, just, hope that everybody have a blessed Easter season.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you all. Once again, that's our next episode on May 5th. Here's our website. Please reach out to us if you have any questions or just want to talk about the possibility of this retreat. All right, we are going to leave you now. Pam, I will see you at a meeting soon, I'm sure, either online or in person. And we'll see you all next time.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.